position. We didn't move the ball well enough early for him and stay in the game. We got behind a little bit, and then now all of a sudden you've got to pitch the ball a little bit more than you wanted to coming in. So we just didn't really help him out a whole lot. I think just knowing him, he's a great kid. He functions real well. He does a hell of a job for us in practice, and he understands everything we're doing. So I think he's going to be a great player here for us. And that was a tough start for him. And I think a couple of those interceptions were just fantastic plays on their part. They weren't just like awful throws. But it ended up being that way. It ended up being an interception, and obviously turnovers hurt us too.
The running game, what do you think? Maybe keep saying you have to do it to do better. Is it getting close?
I don't know. I got to go back and look. And I know I say that every week, but it's the truth. And there were times where I thought that we ran the ball well, and then all of a sudden, you get hit for a -2. And when you're trying to move the ball methodically down the field like that, you just can't have a -2. So let's say you get +5 on the first one and a -2 on the second one, and now you're 3rd and 7. Well, awful hard to run for 3rd and 7 for the first down. So that's the problem. So we would move it down the field. I mean, I looked at some of the drive charts, and some of them were up over 10 plays in a drive, and that's a good thing. But we just couldn't finish it on the back end. We just had some sort of hiccup in there. We ran the option, and that got strung out and lost yardage there, and then we're behind the sticks. And when you're trying to do that, you just have to be so efficient running the football. I think we got a ton of carries in today. I don't know exactly what the stats are. I haven't looked at them yet, but I would bet there's a few carries in there, and that was the intention, having a younger guy quarterback stepping in for the first time. But again, we get behind, and it's hard to just say, okay, hey, we're going to run the football and try and get back in it. That's what happened.
How do you think Garrett was, aside from the interceptions today, just his performance as a whole?
I think he was good. For a young guy, I thought he did a good job. Again, take a look at the tape, but I do think he did a good job. I think, like I said, functioned well. I think when we played with tempo, he moved into position and got that going. And that was really a good thing for us on the day, was tempo. Now, again, we just missed opportunities on points several times. We got down in there and just couldn't finish it. That's what I want to look at when we get back, because it shouldn't have been 16. It needed to be, I don't know, I'm not saying it's 50, but it's not 16 either. So as bad as the score ended up on our side of it, I don't think it was really that bad. Obviously, the turnovers.
You mentioned putting them in some bad spots. The fumble, was that kind of a tricky spot for a freshman to go under center right there on the 4th and 1?
No,
a little bit,
I don't think so. We do it all the time. We're under center quite a bit. Now, sure, you can point fingers back and say, yeah, okay, that's a spot, but not necessarily. That's something that we practice quite a bit. The situation maybe warranted, but now all of a sudden you're 4th and a foot, I think is what we had, maybe 4th and a half a yard, and you line up in shotgun, so you give yourself a 5-yard disadvantage right up. So I don't know. I think you line up and you smash it down there, and we felt good about that particular play, and it just didn't work out. So that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we just didn't finish our end of it. Maybe at receiver sometimes, maybe at O-line or running back, and help out a young guy. We had a chance to go 7-7 with him early, and we didn't catch the ball. It is what it is. We didn't catch the ball. And you're walking in for a touchdown on 7-7. And then so you get behind a little bit, and now it's 21. And you go, okay, well, damn, we got to start throwing it. That's what I mean by putting him in a bad position. We didn't finish the drives at other positions, and myself on calls, whatever that may be. We just didn't really help out a young guy.
What did you with so many young skill position players, and obviously now a true freshman quarterback, what do you do? What's the approach that you take during practice of just kind of getting them, shaking them out of this funk the past 2 weeks?
That's a good one. I had hoped. We had a meeting today, and one of the things I asked the starters to stand up in our meeting, and so everybody stood up, and I knew the loaded answer to this thing, but and I said, okay, hey, we're 6-2 right now, and we played a lot of good football, and I want just the seniors to remain standing, and there wasn't one. There was not one senior remaining standing here. And so I want those guys to understand that they're young. We're going through a little bit of a learning curve here. We've been down that road before, and we've gone on massive runs, in years following. We've got a really good football team. We've got a lot of guys right now that are waiting to come back. I hope they can come back here fairly quickly. and that'll add some depth, obviously, and then obviously some leadership too. So. You know, this was the one we needed to kind of hit this one on the head here and start to get some guys back. You know, I'd love to get Spencer back, obviously, Caden Bray, Frank Johnson. There's a number of guys that are difference makers and playmakers for us that we were missing. And we played a good team.
For more information, you can visit TulsaWorld.com.